Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Accomplishment Coaching is proud to present the following fine programming. Accomplishment Coaching, where coaches lead and leaders coach. AccomplishmentCoaching.com.
Welcome to Leadership Insights Radio.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Wade Taylor, and this is one of our ongoing series of 2020 Business Vision, where I'm bringing in leaders throughout the community and across the nation to share what they think are important trends and activities that are going to be occurring in 2020. And so on today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about giving. We're going to be talking a little bit about supporting the causes that have your heart. And so I'm happy to be joined in the studio by Renee Zhao. She is the co-founder and the CEO of Donation Match. So go ahead and open up a browser window right now and go to donationmatch.com, donationmatch.com, and I'm sure you're going to find amazing things that will touch your heart as well as inspire you. So thank you for joining us, Renee.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we can understand a little bit. In a moment, we're going to get to the trends that you're seeing, kind of we live in a new, amazing world that in some ways makes giving a little bit easier, although it may be confusing, right? But go ahead and give us a little bit about your background and what you're doing so we can get an idea of where your perspective is coming from.
Sure. Thank you. So basically, donationmatch.com is the culmination of a lot of my work up until about 9 years ago when when the platform was built. And basically, it's designed uniquely like a dating site for companies and charitable events. And the reason why we needed it so badly is because I had been a business owner, actually owned about 5 small businesses over the last 20 years, and was doing marketing for them. They were both franchises, so I was doing marketing with my marketing co-ops. And what we realized is that charitable events were really, honestly, very curated audiences of attendees, but also attached to causes we wanted to support. And so I personally got involved. My very first silent auction experience was with the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women luncheon.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and when I did that, it really opened my eyes to how effectively nonprofits could raise money with the corporate donations. And this isn't necessarily money, monetary donations that companies were giving them, but products and things that became the fun auction prizes and raffle prizes and things that you could actually raise money with. And it was just really another channel, another avenue that businesses could use to support causes they cared about without, if they didn't feel like they could afford the cash.
Right. Cash flow is critical in business, especially small business.
Yes.
But there's usually a service or a couple of extra widgets available that they're happy to put forward to a cause.
Yeah, exactly. And with a lot of businesses that have perhaps extra capacity, being able to donate some of that extra capacity, whether it's tickets, services, ways to keep their employees engaged during slower times, is a way to give back to your community and perhaps introduce yourselves to people who were not already your customers.
Right. Nothing like they get a free trial in many ways in the process, and you never know where that might lead.
Exactly. And so, again, that was a very eye-opening experience participating on the silent auction committee to realize that there was so much win-win synergy happening in just that portion of the event that I really got attracted into doing that, into volunteering more. And so, of course, once someone finds out that you have silent auction experience, you tend to get roped into other events. And I started helping out with my children's schools. And of course, then you start to do enough that you start to chair them. And, I did enough of them that I realized that not only was the solicitation process difficult when you're mass mailing letters and knocking on doors in person, but, for the companies, some of them were getting flooded with hundreds, even thousands of requests a year. Right. And, when you don't have extra resources to really deal with those, a lot of times, it's sad to say, they go straight into the trash can.
Right.
And it's what they felt like they could do, and they'll pick some out once in a while.
Right. It's easy to get overwhelmed. Now, I know that across the board, and maybe this is especially in larger corporate America, cause marketing is just understood that it's got to be part of your portfolio. Your corporation, your company has to show that there's some level of community engagement. So I would imagine they're a little bit more receptive. And now let me tie in one of the things that I really encourage everybody to recognize as a theme across the world of business for like the next decade is frictionless. With all this technology and everything, people are looking for frictionless experiences. Make it easy for me. And it sounds like you've wholeheartedly embraced that and said, okay, I recognize this ecosystem that's going on, but I see where gears are grinding. Exactly. So let me see what I can do to simplify that process. And have I pretty much described Donation Match?
Yes, to a T, yes. So inefficiency is probably my biggest pet peeve.
Right.
And so, again, as I was experiencing both the nonprofit side as well as the donor, business side of this, I was realizing how difficult it was when things are happening manually. And of course, like you mentioned, you can do things online now so much more easily. And I wanted an online platform that could make this process more frictionless so that really ultimately companies could more easily donate. They don't have to dedicate as many resources to handling it because our platform does everything except decision making for them.
Right.
And when that happens, they're saving time, they're saving money, they can be more generous, and they can actually even expand what they were doing before. And that is our goal.
And especially, as I would imagine in most companies, let's say it's a larger corporation, somebody just got to assign this as their task, and they're completely clueless. Or if it's in a smaller company, the owner or one of the principals is going, I know I need to do this, but I'm trying to run a business, and they just want somebody to make it as one button as possible.
Yes, and not only one button, but to actually, when they can realize that they're getting marketing benefit out of it, but not necessarily even having to pay for it.
Right.
They're getting this kind of attention, positive attention, inherently through donating, and it can actually bring new customers. In fact, a lot of companies do it specifically, mostly for that reason.
Right. Well, they're trying to find the win-win.
Exactly, they are. Then, when that clicks for a business owner or, for whether your business is small, medium, or large, when that clicks, then you get why you do need to participate. Social good and companies having a heart really matters now. So people want to realize that whoever they're supporting with their dollars, spending their dollars with, are actually going to give back and make the communities better as well. Right.
And so. And you're saying that you've been doing this over the past 9 years, if I heard correctly.
Yes, Donation Match went live 9 years ago.
Okay, and it's amazing that time races by. Yes. So obviously, you've learned some things. You took your experience, you made it a little bit more frictionless. You have understood the needs of both the companies looking for donations as well as the corporations that are donating. But now let's fast forward to 2020, where now we've got 500,000 different social media platforms, right? And because of that, let's emphasize, people are watching the corporations, right? When you mention that people want to kind of know where their money's going, now that they have the capacity to track that, now the corporations have to step up and go, you know what? I guess I need to be doing something because they are watching me, right?
For sure.
And now we've got AI that can simplify some tasks. We've got different apps that can do different things. So as we look at 2020, what are the trends that may not be implemented or are in the process of being implemented that you really want to draw our attention to and let us understand we got to play this game. Here's the way the game's being played.
So what I feel is starting to bubble up, and I see some of the
The undergirdings?
Yes, of that are really that not only do businesses, should businesses consider their social responsibility, but they need to make it more visible. And, that may mean, I've seen companies that may dedicate themselves to one specific cause, which is great. However, they should perhaps also think about adding on to that something that is a little more localized, something that can perhaps resonate better with the smaller organizations that may not necessarily be in that specific cause area, but their customers support So I guess what I really mean is it's great to have perhaps a banner cause that you're going to be raising money for as a company, but don't forget about your customers too and the causes they care about. And of course, you can't support everybody,
right?
But I'm really seeing more of this merging of marketing and causes, where if a company, perhaps wanted to support their pet cause, but also decided to contribute to the smaller organizations in perhaps a different way, that spreads it out a little bit more, they would actually perhaps get more attention for it, stay more visible, their brand would be remembered, and that's really a lot of what keeps companies alive, right? Is you need customers, you need people to remember you. Like you said, there's so much information that you're bombarded by one brand's great efforts, and oh my gosh, you just forgot about the other one. And you have to constantly stay in front of your customers and remind them of what you're doing for them.
Yeah, it gets overwhelming, and that's why I often try to have people go back to basics, go back to fundamentals. And one of the big transitions that's occurring with new media versus the old media was about demographics. But in the new world, I really don't care whether you're male, female, 50, 40, what race you are or anything. It's about psychographics.
Yes.
What do you care about? So it sounds like what you're saying is the companies need to, as they're looking at charitable contributions, truly understand the psychographics of the customer and then identify the charities or causes that tie into that psychographic.
Yes.
And now we've got something that's building upon itself rather than, I'm just going to make something up, but let's say that I'm a clothing manufacturer and I'm donating to bringing water to a farm. It's like, yeah, that's a great cause, but really what does that have to do with clothing? Where I might have a charitable cause of disabled people making a clothing item or some organization gathering up clothing to donate for an auction. Right. So it seems like you're really talking about that tighter alignment.
Yes, exactly. And perhaps being able to support more of those organizations that are in alignment along with your customers around the country so that you stay in front of them and that your efforts are actually being recognized.
Right.
Will actually benefit you more as a business. And, we do all want to give back, but you also need to stay in business to be able to continue giving back.
Right. Well, it just folds into what's happening in the world of marketing writ large, and that it's, they're saying find your avatar, find that ideal customer, worry about customer experience, worry about customer journey. Because again, the internet broke geographic exclusivity. So now we're in the world of more niche marketing, and it's more about truly building that relationship, brand on customer experience. And so this just needs to fold into and not fight with or kind of be detached from the entire picture.
Right.
So can you share with us perhaps some of the companies you've worked with so we can get a better feel of how this plays out on the ground?
Oh, sure. So, one of the larger companies that we work with is Medieval Times. And they have 9 castles across the country, one in Canada.
Okay.
And so they donate tickets to their dinner tournaments. And, they are fairly popular. They've been around a very long time. And, I think most people, although not myself included, I plan to get there one day, have probably been there at least once have fond memories of it. And so they received quite a few requests from all over. And they will gladly donate, of course, within their parameters and capacity, but they are glad to donate to the communities in their areas. And, and those could be schools, they could be charities, it's a broad spectrum.
And I can just imagine with Game of Thrones, that kind of thing shot up on people's radars perhaps a little bit more.
Exactly.
And I can only imagine how a middle school or something might respond to having a couple of knights and, ladies show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, they love, and Medieval Times has field trips that they offer as well. And, that's not necessarily a donation, but that's, of course, something that they offer. They actually they raise their own horses. And so they actually have almost a sustainable model.
Wow.
So it's very interesting. But they are one of our, the ones I like because they do have such a great philosophy of staying engaged in their communities.
Right. So now let's say that we've gone, wow, this is fascinating. Perhaps I'm a company, right?
Yes.
And I'm going, let me quickly jump on to donationmatch.com. Again, that's donationmatch.com. What are we going to see? What's the first link they perhaps should click on? Give us a little bit about that journey.
Oh, sure. So our website's a little unique in that we have 2 different customer types, right?
Right.
So we have the nonprofits who are oftentimes asked to apply through Donation Match by the companies they reach out to.
Okay.
So you might reach out, you might be going to your local Medieval Times castle's website and find out, oh, they want me to apply through Donation Match. That happens a lot. And then, so there's a journey there in which you click through the create an account area, and we actually walk you through the process. So there's, on our website, there's really 3 steps. You put in your organization profile and who you are in relation to the organization. We actually do the vetting on behalf of the companies in our system, so we make sure you are a legitimate contact. If your email address doesn't match the organization's website, then we will reach out to a staff member to make sure. We also need to make sure you have a website that works as well as exempt status. So those are the 3 points. And then once we once we verified all that, then you're able to put in your event information for which you're looking for donations, and then be able to start making requests through what we call a donation catalog.
Right.
So, and that's the fun part, is to see, of all the companies we have in our system, which ones do you actually qualify for based on their preferences. And, that saves the nonprofits a lot of time in that they're not going to be virtually knocking on doors and get a no anyway, or wasting time. But also by aggregating all of the eligible donations in one place, you can see them all, compare them all, and probably be a little more strategic in planning and what you're going to be doing with it.
Right. And again, it's beautiful having this broad overview because sometimes people don't even know what the questions they should be asking are, or even what the possibilities might be.
Yes. And so really, that's actually a really good segue to the company side, because when you're a company that is willing to donate, what we can do is we can curate the types of requests you get to be more targeted to what you're actually more willing to say yes to, just as much as we can even broaden your exposure to those target audiences and make your items available to organizations that perhaps didn't think of you. And so that's a little bit of how it actually works to a marketing benefit. But, companies also create a profile. We do vet them as well. They need to really have good reputations on Yelp and and other rating sites. Yeah, because we're really
Well, that's one of the things that people need is the assurance. They don't
Exactly.
want to have to be worrying about it, second guessing what they're doing.
Exactly.
So you're giving them that seal of approval,
Yes.
both the nonprofits and the businesses.
Yes, we are.
Right, and then so they're playing now in the world of donation match, and they're finding a lot of great connections there and facilitating the process. But all of this is occurring in that bigger world we live in. And one of the things that is just totally dominating that bigger world we live in, especially the online world, are all these social media platforms. And so can you talk to us a little bit about how the growth of social media platforms, the diversity of social media platforms might be interacting or affecting either the nonprofit or the company?
Sure. So it's interesting you mentioned that because social media, being thanked on social media is probably the number one ask of the companies that use our system.
Okay.
So, they want to be recognized again. They want to be visible.
Right.
They want to be introduced to fans of the causes that they're supporting. And so, interestingly, we do have a way to streamline how their social media preferences are provided to the event organizers. We actually forward their accounts, their preferred posts, as well as hashtags automatically when they say yes.
Beautiful.
So, and that, again, you're right. Social media is important in many people's lives now, for connection as well as really recommendations. And so when you see that an organization you like was supported by a specific business and that they actually put it on their social media, it just gives them a little extra tick upward,
Right. So we've got a few minutes left, so let's do kind of a lightning round in so many words.
Okay.
So in a minute, give us a tip about leveraging social media.
Ooh. So in terms of leveraging social media, well, I do want to point out that you're right that companies, there's AI, there are all sorts of apps for companies to track their mentions. So if an organization receives something, definitely tag the company, definitely thank them. I would say because social media is so important, companies should actually do the same. They really, if they're not using our system, they should be forwarding the right information to be recognized. That kind of communication is super important so that they both can reach the goals that they want to.
Okay. And now in about a minute, reinforce a message of tightly aligning company with cause.
So, it's interesting because a lot of the companies in our system are very generalized. So they don't pick specific causes per se, but they do pick the best opportunities for themselves. And that, that could be perhaps aligning with their customers. Some businesses do take the perspective that it's not necessarily all about them and their choices. They want to be where the customers are. And so that's something a company will need to decide is, do they want to be the most visible, the most generous company out there and kind of spray the community with what they're providing, or do they want to be very well known within a very specific cause community and perhaps give more generously to a select few. Two different strategies.
Okay. And within that world, is there something that you would encourage people to stop doing, right, that maybe is passé or really isn't effective or just annoys you?
Well, I think what annoys me is what I hear annoys a lot of our donor company customers, in that when people asking for donations are not respecting their choices or their preferences or instructions on how to reach them. Bypassing the information that is communicated on their websites. Really, I hate to say, even begging a person. Like when you are asking for a donation, I think what hurts me, because I know it hurts nonprofits, is that when I see them asking for something and making it all about them. There's so many good causes all around the world. And so I don't think there's ever a doubt that a need is genuine. But, you really need to stand out and, I guess, better showcase not only why you do something differently that would actually fulfill that need better, how effective are you actually? And the impact is starting to bubble up, too, in terms of who is selected for a donation or a grant even. I think especially when grants start to get up into the higher number dollar sizes, effectiveness really matters. It's not just a handout. They want to see the actual results of it. But, to even speak to what you can do for the donor or sponsor. There again, that win-win, that synergy, that really needs to happen. You need to really recognize and communicate that you're not just asking them for something for free. You want to keep them in business so that you can continue doing that for years and years, and the better you communicate that, the better it'll work for both of you.
Exactly. So quickly, nobody cares about what you're doing until they understand its relevance to them. So with 30 seconds, invite us to work with Donation Match.
Sure. So if you're a company that would like a more streamlined, better way to give things away, go ahead and please visit donationmatch.com. You can read all about us. We do, we work with theme parks, with personal services, really just, any kind of business that can donate something of value and want visibility for it.
Right. And so I totally encourage you again to go to donationmatch.com. I think it's terrific that business is being encouraged with incentives on many levels to really be part of the community and give back. So we'll be back next time with more great information here on Leadership's Insights Radio, powered by WSRadio.com. We are the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
The National Academy of Distinguished Neutrals is an invitation-only association of over 700 of America's premier civil trial mediators and arbitrators, as rated by local litigators. The Academy's website is an invaluable resource. Firms can search for a neutral by case experience or region, and even check available dates for local mediators and arbitrators online for free. No referral or admin fees. Please visit the Academy at nadn.org today for more information.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
You've heard me talking about Progressive Medical Center. They have helped me feel my best. And Dr. Gully, tell us a little bit about integrative medicine. Why is that such a big deal at Progressive Medical Center, and how can that make me feel better?
Integrative medicine is just good medicine. It's combining the best of traditional medicine, nutritional medicine, natural medicine, and really helping the patient get to the root cause so they can take control of their health and really make an impact to improve not only their energy, their vitality, and just their overall outlook on their health and their life.
I procrastinated procrastinated for a long time before I finally made an appointment. So why should someone not delay and go ahead and get set up and come see you guys?
Any journey begins with that first step, and that first step means making a decision to recognize that there's something wrong with you. Whether you have fatigue, inappropriate weight gain, not sleeping well, not concentrating, all of these issues, you can get to the root cause.
So many of us here at The Fish have gotten help from Progressive Medical Center. So why don't you find out more from them today? Go to progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life, live it well.